Carmine's a somewhat divisive character. Compared to her shy little brother Kieran, her assertiveness often leads people to label her as a bully, with some even claiming she's the reason Kieran lacks self-confidence. While Carmine is by no means the nicest character you'll meet, does that truly mean she's not a good person? Does she deserve the controversy surrounding her? Well, sit back, relax, and let's start at the beginning, when you first meet Carmine and Kieran. Her harshness is on display right off the bat when she won't let you into town unless you battle her, then tells Kieran to keep quiet when he calls her on her scheme. There are other times as well, like when she tells Kieran to watch what she says when he calls her a dummy, gets offended when Kieran says she doesn't know the ogre as well as him, and then there's that one time when she tries to get Kieran to do ogre ousting as a means to compete against you. But while you do see Kieran back down a bit during these moments, it's not entirely true to write these moments off as Carmine being mean, especially when considering the context of the scenes. The way some people view Carmine's harshness is exactly how Kieran himself acts in the latter half of the Teal mask and most of the Indigo disc, except Carmine's harshness doesn't even come close to reaching that level at any point in the Teal mask or anywhere in the Indigo disc. The difference is that Carmine isn't trying to be overly harsh, she's just being more assertive, which can sometimes come off as being harsh, but at no point is her assertiveness out of being disrespectful or not caring about anyone. If anything, sometimes she acts assertive because she cares, or just acts caring in general. Later in the Teal mask, it's revealed that Carmine acts a bit harsh to you in the beginning because she wasn't trustful of outsiders, which she does get over later, but it shows that her actions stem from caring about her home region and how it's treated by others. She's not telling Kieran to hush up to be a bully or to be intentionally mean to Kieran. It's because she wants you to prove yourself to her in a battle. She doesn't tell Kieran to watch what he says just for the sake of making him feel bad. It's because he called her a legitimate insult and wants you to battle him because she knows it's something that Kieran really wants. Plus, both Carmine and Kieran himself know he's too shy to ask you himself. Heck, at one of the shrines, Kieran literally tells you that he's so shy and soft-spoken, he relies on Carmine a lot even during school. It's also when the three of you are getting ready for the festival. When she can't find a mask for you to wear and Kieran offers his, she stops him, but only because she knows how important the mask is to him, since she knows he's a huge fanatic about the ogre. Kieran himself even tells you that Carmine's not that bad of a person, and was actually looking as hard as she could for a mask for you to wear. Even during the festival, the whole ogre ousting thing is just out of harmless competition. There's also the moment where you and Carmine see Ogrepon before Kieran, but I'll go more into those events later. But speaking of Ogrepon, when you and Carmine plan to fix her mask, her entire reasoning is out of sympathy for Ogrepon's backstory and because it would make her happy. And before your final battle with Kieran, Carmine is the one to tell Kieran that he has to respect Ogrepon's feelings, and his response can pretty much be summed up as, "I don't care." Even in the Indigo disc, Carmine is the one to tell you about Kieran's condition after Kitakami, which shows that she's been keeping an eye on his health, both physically and mentally. At what point during any of this is Carmine acting like a bully to Kieran or anyone else? Especially compared to Kieran in the Indigo disc, where his assertiveness is way more on the aggressive side. In his very first scene, he's disrespecting another club member's intentions for not doing things his way, then threatens to kick him out of the club. He's shown to have let his power go to his head by acting like everyone else is beneath him, and when he loses to you, no one in the crowd even tries to comfort him because, well, why would they when he's been nothing but uncaring to so many people? While Carmine's assertiveness can make her seem harsh, it's never for the intent of hurting others, whereas with Kieran, it is. But what about the actual relationship between the siblings? When actually looking at how they interact with each other, can we still say that Carmine bullies Kieran, or that her assertiveness is a major part of why Kieran lacks self-confidence in himself? Now, I've already done a character analysis on Kieran's character, so I'll mostly just be summarizing the bits relevant to this video, but if you like character analysis on Pokemon characters, I can definitely recommend giving it a watch. I'll leave a link at the end of this video. But with all that said, while Carmine and Kieran sometimes disagree with each other, it never reaches to the extent of bullying or trying to be mean. If anything, during the moments where you see Carmine and Kieran talking to each other, he's rarely hesitant and acts more open to Carmine when it comes to speaking his mind on things. Even during moments that happen after Carmine's being assertive towards Kieran, he's mostly reserved to unfamiliar people. Plus, most of Carmine's assertiveness towards Kieran is just her responding to something he said, not her taking the initiative to be harsh right off the bat. In fact, most of the times when Carmine and Kieran are in the same room, she's being calm towards Kieran. And at no point in the entirety of the Teal mask or the Indigo disc Does Kieran imply that Carmine's the reason for being who he is? The only time he sort of does this is during his breakdown, after he takes Ogerpon's mask. While you could say that her assertiveness combined with the lying would make Kieran think that you and her were making fun of Kieran behind his back, that doesn't change the fact that she had good intentions for trying to keep the truth from him, because she wanted to protect his feelings, even if her solution didn't work out in the end. That, and it doesn't excuse Kieran for not at least hearing you and Carmine out on your actual reasoning for keeping the truth instead of assuming the worst. After all, he says it himself that Carmine's not as bad as she seems and gives an example of that, which further shows that this is less of a result of Carmine's harshness, but really more of Kieran's emotions and obsession with the ogre clouding his judgment. And while he does act cold and distant towards Carmine in the Indigo disc, he's acting this way towards other people, including you. And the reason for Kieran's change doesn't have much to do with Carmine. Kieran's change is a result of him thinking he was too weak to win over Ogerpon, not a result of Carmine being harsh. Carmine's harshness doesn't get called out in the story much because her harshness isn't a major factor of Kieran's change or his hesitant personality. A person can lack self-confidence due to harshness, but that doesn't mean it's always the cause. Sometimes the reasoning is simply that's just who they are, or who they used to be. But this isn't to say you have to like Carmine. Yes, she can be harsh, sometimes inconsiderate, and hot-headed, but that's only half of who she is. She sometimes has good intentions and a thoughtful, caring side to her. Even if it's not perfect, she does what she can to look out for her little brother and genuinely cares about him. And if Kieran didn't care about Carmine's well-being, he wouldn't have tried to help her come to her senses during the whole Petron incident. That's after Kieran admits the flaws about her sister's personality. Sure, they'll have disagreements here and there, but when doesn't that happen between family and friends? It doesn't mean you don't care about each other at the end of the day. If that's true, what's the worst a few squabbles will do to a genuine bond? But let me know what you all think of Carmine. Do you think her character gets too much undeserved hate? Do you agree or disagree with this video? I'd love to know your thoughts and what other Pokemon topics and characters you'd like to see me cover next. Thanks for watching all the way through, and I hope I'll see you again next time. Take care, everyone.